That's insane! It worked! Ah! Okay, Jesus Christ. Okay, that that's what I've been fucking doing. I'm pretty sure it was Jaeger and Cheeky who were like, "What are you animating?" And I'm like, "Oh, a rotoscope." And then Cheeky was like, "What's a rotoscope?" And I'm like, "Man, I wish I could just show you what I have and just like fucking share my screen, but that's not functionality in Team." I spent fucking forever trying to GIF one of a rotoscope I did. And I was like, I could just set up Twitch, but I'm like, oh, I have to like configure it and stuff. I made a Twitch back in high school because I've always wanted to be a Twitch streamer, and the biggest part of that was like I love playing video games. I love playing multiplayer games because I love talking to people and playing with people. I love playing single player games, but I don't like. I want to still interact with people. So I was like, oh, I'd want to stream, but I was like, my voice, this is when I was still insecure of my voice in high school. So I was like, I'm gonna have to like, I'm gonna have to deal with that. So I've just had it. And that's why I know how to use OBS, I know how to set up, but I couldn't fucking figure out the stupid email shit. Oh my god. But I finally got it. And I've had people tell me, like, oh, like you play video games, you're really funny. You're an attractive female. You should stream. And I'm like, I should, but I don't. Wanted to play games, but I never did. One of the reasons I never stream myself playing video games is because I'm not good at video games. I've constantly had people ask me if I stream. And I'm like, no, I don't, because I like talking to people. I don't like talking to myself. What I found instead, because like I want to talk to people, I was like, oh, I'll just do ePail. That one have Asian is I made that username when I was 12. Well, technically I'm 75% Asian, but I'm 50% Chinese, 25% Armenian. When I made this username, I didn't realize I was 12, and I didn't realize Armenia is actually an Asian country. Don't pop out with that yellow fever. Toha is what I came up with after certain, like, it was like for the first I think the first time I encountered it was like Xbox, like a gamer tag or whatever. I don't know. I don't use Xbox anymore. It had a 15 character limit, and I was like, God damn it, God, because that one have Asia 16, and I'm like, I can't do that one have Asia, like that. Not a fucking country. So I did Toha, and then because 4 characters is too short, I added the word lore, because like video game lore. But yeah, when I add someone on from ePal on Discord, or like this for example, they're like, oh, that's what Toha stands for, and I was like, oh yeah, you guys don't know. I've had Twitch in my back pocket for years. With ePal, I knew when I found ePal through when it was called eGirl, which was 2 years ago. I started a month ago. What is an ePal photo shoot? So you just took a bunch of selfies and it was like, all of my pictures are none of them are recent. I realized that I put a picture up there from when I was like fucking like 16. And I don't remember doing that because every time like I look good, because I don't think I look good right now. I think I look greasy, gross. I forget to take photos. I don't do NSFW. That's not on ePal. I'm kidding. I don't give a fuck. I had just done a bunch of free orders. The first free order I did was like yesterday. So it was like around like 3 p.m. my time. 30 minutes. This motherfucker spent the 30 minutes talking to me about a different girl on ePal, which like I wasn't jealous. He was just asking about advice, and I'm like, dude. And then it went past it. Like I realized it was at 45 minutes, and I'm like, oh, we're like over time, and I'm like, it's free already. And he's like, okay, yeah, but let me just and it was so annoying. And like that's like I genuinely love talking to anyone. Like but it was because like I was like, she did this because she was like manipulating you. Basically, it was like, why are girls so confusing? Why did she block me on all of this but not this? And like the more we talked, I was like, oh yeah, it's like for your own good. Just block her. Just forget about it. She said all these things, she did all those things because she knows that it'll get it, even if she doesn't have to do anything besides those like one message, one like call or something. She's effectively like ingrained herself into your thoughts. And he's like, but she's not. And I'm like, the fact that we're going in circles like this, it's like I don't mind talking to people about like relationship advice or like anything. Like I'm comfortable talking about, but it was more the fact that I was like, he's like, no, yeah, I agree with you, you're right. But what if this? And I'm like, okay, it's not what if this, what if that. As you can tell, I talk a lot, and I don't pause for a very long time. But I was pausing because I was like, how do I say this in a different way than I already said it? Because I'm just saying the same thing over and over. And that was my first free order, and I was like, okay, you know what? We're not doing that shit anymore. Fuck that. I only did it for the fucking store rating. There's no point. I still get orders. I still like. All I have to do is post a selfie, and people start fucking hitting me up. So pretty privileged. But I'm not doing this for money. I just want to talk to people, and that's why it's so low. But now I'm raising it because it's like, it's too many people. It was overwhelming the amount of orders I was getting, and mine was just eChat, and I was like, dude, it's like 11 people, like. But I do have to parse through NSFW shit, and then because I'm like, okay, this is getting like because I was charging $2 for 30 minutes, or whatever the currency is, I don't know, and I was enjoying it, but I was like, I'm queuing up orders, and so like now I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna raise the prices a bit. I've had many people be like, you're too cheap, and I'm like, why are you upset? I was like, I raised my video chat service to $5 for 15 minutes, and I made $40 yesterday. Like I like I know I'm like decently attractive, but I don't think I'm that pretty. And I get some people being like, "Are you an actual real person?" And I'm like, "What the? Yeah." Like what? I got quote unquote misgendered like an hour ago. It was that was so oh, that was so cute when Mochi was like, wait, who's talking? And I'm like, oh, me Toha. And she's like, oh, I thought you were doing that. Was so cute. Oh, it's so funny. Like I literally don't get offended. She was so sweet. That his name was Ed, 39-year-old. I was showing off my tattoos to him and stuff. And he's like, you don't like, I don't know how you could be mistaken as transgender. And I'm like, oh, it's my voice. It's entirely my voice. Which is so funny. The biggest catfish is my fucking voice, because I don't look like I have a deep voice. I don't care. We need to start a counter for how many people think I'm a guy until they see what I look like. Join my stream and you can see what I look like. God, that's so stupid. That's so scummy. What do you want me to do to prove that I'm a girl? like I'm not gonna like like what like I'm trying to draw. I'm not trying to fucking pose. Dan, I know I don't have to prove anything. It's just so funny. Cause like I knew someone who I was playing games with someone for 2 months, and he made a joke. He's like, I said like, oh, I'll send you the link for that. And he's like, if you send me the link, I'll suck you off. And I'm like, man, I'll take you up on that offer, but I don't have a dick. And he's like, wait, what? And I'm like, I'm not a guy. He's like, what the fuck? And yeah, and like we were like becoming friends. If I ever cosplay, I'm gonna cosplay as Haruhi from R1 or Tina from Bob's Burgers. I've had people say like, oh, you remind me of Tina, and I'm like, if it's because of the voice, go fuck yourself, because Tina has a male voice actor. I realized this one fucking creep from high school. I blocked him on everything. This motherfucker messaged me on LinkedIn, and I'm like, leave me alone, stop. And I was streaming one day, just a game to show my friend. I wasn't even talking, and he pops in, and he's like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And I'm like, "No, you can't. I blocked you on everything." But yeah, I blocked him like just today. So basically, the person I blocked is someone from high school who had a crush on me. My middle school and high school were the same school, so I spent 7 years with people, and that was too much. But he liked me for the last 3 years of high school, which like, whatever, I don't care. But he continued to like me like into college and would just like swipe up on my story, and I'm like, I wouldn't respond. And then I got a dog, and he was like, "Oh, can I come over and see your dog?" I'm like, "I haven't seen you in years." like and I know you just want to come and see me, so no, you can't come see my dog. And then but like that was tame. And then uh this is over the span of like every event I say kind of happens a year. Like dog thing happened sophomore year, the swiping up my Snapchat freshman year. The next year after I got my dog's name is Atlas. I had a family dog named Riley, and he passed away while my family was in Hawaii. So we like that was like the one place that we traveled, like the one state we could have traveled to that we couldn't just go back home immediately, because otherwise if we were like California, if we were in like New York, I'm from Minnesota. I live in Chicago, but I'm from Minnesota. When I was in Hawaii, I started messaging people. So this is 2 years after high school. I was messaging people from high school that I didn't talk to anymore, but I was friends with in high school, and I was like, "Hey, sorry to bother you, but do you have any pictures of Riley?" Because like we just wanted to like get more pictures of him. I messaged this guy, and everyone I messaged, like it was even people like that used to be my best friend and stuff, but like, and it would just be like, "No, I'm sorry for your loss," all this stuff. Maybe five messages. Same thing happens with him, but then he keeps trying to talk to me. He's like, "Oh, how's it going?" I'm like, "No, no, you cannot use my dead dog as a reason to like keep a conversation going." And I was like, "Bro, what the fuck?" So I blocked it. So I was like, like that. I was pissed about that. I was like, "Dude, have some fucking class, at least." I don't know. Also, I had a boyfriend, and I'm like, "Give up." Blocked him on everything. So like Facebook, Snapchat, Discord, Steam, basically anything I like interacted with him on. He was not mean. Like he was the most passive motherfucker. I'm like, just give up, motherfucker. Messaged me on fucking LinkedIn. And he's like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And I'm like, "You motherfucker, I blocked you on everything." I still have never opened that message. So there's like an unread message from just LinkedIn user because I blocked him. I was just like this is comedy. Like this is comedy. You're fucking stupid, dude. Like give up. And then okay, yeah, August of 2020, my best friend passes away. Which yeah, no, I've gotten past it. Um, but my graduating class was 53 people. His mom directly called me and told me I had to tell everyone. So I like had to call people that I didn't talk to anymore, and I unblocked him to tell him, and I even told like my ex-boyfriend and my like old best friends like, "Hey, can you make sure Nick's okay? Can you make sure that like he like can you make sure like because I know they were close, but I don't want to do anything. I don't want to be that person, but I want to make sure he's okay." Um, and then oh yeah, so I had just gone to Chicago from Minnesota, um, and he was back in Minnesota. So like, I get the day I get back to Chicago, or no, the day after I get back to Chicago, I get the call, and then they're like, "Oh, the funeral is in like 2 days," and I cannot go back. Like, there's no way for me to go back, so I can't go to his funeral. It was a lot. We don't have time to unpack all of that. People from my class who went to the service, like afterwards, they kind of like all like gathered, and it was like socially distanced because COVID. They just like went around and just like talked about like their favorite memories of him and all this stuff. Motherfucker sends me a picture and he says, "Wish you were here." And I'm like, there's no fucking way that you thought you were gonna be able to see me for the first time in 4 years at my best friend's funeral. Like, dude! And I was pissed. Like, I was like, I blocked you on everything. I blocked you on Facebook. I blocked you on Instagram. I blocked you on Snapchat. I blocked you on Discord. I blocked you on Steam. I blocked you on linked fucking in. You still thought you were gonna be able to see me. I was pissed. I was like I was mood swing right there. So yeah, after that, I was like, no, fuck this guy. I don't care. Like, no. Once again, called my ex-boyfriend. I'm like, "Hey, remember how I said make sure he's okay? Tell him he fucked up, because that's disgusting." Fast forward 6-7 months to like spring of 2021. I am streaming a video game just to show one of my friends what I was playing, but I wasn't talking. And guess who joins my stream? Yeah. And I'm like, I forgot to block you. And he's like, oh, hey, how are you doing? If you're talking, I can't hear you. Is this game this? And I'm like, you cannot act like nothing has happened. That I have blocked you on every single platform. LinkedIn, like, you obviously know. I specifically told your closest friends to tell that this pissed me off. We haven't talked or seen each other in 4 years. It's yeah. So you see why I had to block him from my Twitch? Cause like I no you don't get the benefit of seeing me. He went on to my Twitch and he messaged those two things, and I was playing Cloudpunk, if you know what that is. It's like you're like a delivery driver in the yeah it's such a cute game. But I was like driving and he messages and I see it and I stop driving. I stop and I like so in my Twitch stream there's no camera, there's no audio, like it's just you're just watching the game. And so like you're seeing someone just stop. I was in shock and I continued playing, I ignored it, and then I stopped. I haven't touched Twitch since. And then when I was setting this thing up, I was like, oh, I have to block this guy. And I figured out how to block it. If he finds me on EPAL, I'm gonna kill him. That's another reason I had. That's another. I had to block him because if he could pay me as much money as he wanted, and I would not accept that shit. And also, like, some of my like original followers on Twitch are his friends, but like I I can comfortably talk to them. I don't, but I can. I'm a fifth year. I'm double majoring in computer science and animation. Yeah, harder to learn, easier to do, but animation is easy to learn, hard to do, or it just takes time, and I combine the two, so I don't have time for shit. I mean, I came into college and I didn't have any coding experience, I didn't have any animation experience. I was like, fuck it, let's ball. This is one of my animation projects. I am doing a 30-second animation, and basically, this is the animatic, and I just have to like draw it more. And it's supposed to like just be one conflict, and it gets resolved. It has to end. But here, I will play it. And there's no sound, but oh wow, why did that disappear? Actually, let me just pull up the storyboard. That'll be so much easier than trying to show the animatic. What you can see here is a establishing shot outside of an apartment. That's the next one. Like it's a light turning off, and then so it doesn't go through the window, but it cuts to inside the apartment. Switch flip, and then he walks to the bed. His partner's already in. The basis is it's a fight over the covers, and then oh, that's a messed up frame. This shot is like shot of their feet, and then they're like moving opposite, not because they're mad at each other, but just because they're just like moving their own sides, and then they move apart. And then these are the people. The red lines are like lines of action. This person grabs it with their hand. This person grabs it right there. This little, where's my cursor? This little thing right here is like sheet moving back and forth, like pull left, pull right, pull left, pull right. And then we have pull super hard, and then so the girl who was already in the bed, and it was hogging the sheets, like does like a cartoony spin, and like I had this idea because I wanted to like work with smears. I think smears are so much fun. Then she grabs it in like retaliation, pulls it, and then this like the blue line is like I'm not gonna do this anymore. This is too much work. But like I did want to like play with like elasticity of like the fabric, and she pulls so hard that he gets flung into the wall. I base it off of like with my ex-partner. You could always be like, you take up so much of the sheets. I'm like, I have to nest. I'm learning 3D modeling in Maya, but Maya's ridiculously expensive. So I'm gonna learn Blender this summer. This is a project from last quarter. It's a PSA, a public service announcement. It can be about whatever the fuck you want. This is Duck Attack. It is how to defend yourself from a goose. This is heavily rotoscoped. Rotoscoping is my favorite thing to do. It's not my favorite type of animation, but it's my favorite thing to do. I think the funniest thing about this is, at least for me, when I'm drawing my legs, I did these reference videos at different times of the night, and I'm wearing like right now I'm wearing shorts, but like that in that one clip, I I didn't even realize that it's whatever. It was very low res. I was in my underwear, so like my legs are like more defined when I was tracing them. When I was wearing shorts, it's like chunkier around like the upper leg, but still defined down. And then when I was wearing sweatpants, my legs just looked bulkier. But only I notice it because like it's so. But I just think it's so funny. So this this is like this is like an example of a smear. See, like kind of like see like how like see like it's like the form loses shape like right, and it makes it. Yeah, okay, so so basically what I initially do is I do like a very like light sketch, and then the ones that actually are showing going over in like a darker line. If I was doing it the correct way, it would be drawing with like red or blue and then going over in black. That'd be a lot easier, and I should have done that. And I'm actually gonna start doing that. Like I didn't color this in. I just did a scribble and it like fills it, and that's what the color layers do. Yeah. I rotoscoped someone jacking off for this one. Jesus, no. I told someone I rotoscoped like my idea once, and they're like, "You gotta," and I'm like, "No, I didn't get an actual fucking goose. Oh my god, that'd be hilarious. It would make it a lot easier." I've come up with two really good ideas. One is called Plant Mom. It's about a woman who suffers miscarriage, and she fills that hole with fills like the missing like the hole that's been created by like losing her child with plants. So Plant Mom, and she goes to a farmer's market and to like buy more plants, and there's like this like old hag type beat. It's like, oh, these seeds will like grow these seeds. They will help you, or like they're what you need. Without her like saying like, by the way, I had a miscarriage, because like why would you bring that up? And she gets a cut on her hand and drops the one of the seeds in her hand, and it grows a little. Wait, let me see if I can have the. Let me see if I can find the picture. Look at that. Isn't that cute? I sent a picture of it to like a bunch of people of my friends, forgetting that one of my friends literally had a miscarriage the week before, and she texted me back. She texted She snapped me back, like crying, and she's like, "That's funny as fuck that you forgot, and that's so good, but I hate you." So, little thing about me, as I've kind of mentioned, I have ADHD, I have depression, I have anxiety, and I was put into a psych ward sophomore year of college. So I've been in a psych ward, and then last year, 14 months ago, I was in rehab for weed. I had the idea for a zombie apocalypse, and like it was a very played out trope, but it's like, what happens if the zombie apocalypse started while you're in the psych ward? So this is a drawing I came up with. I also love creative writing. I love writing. It's one of my passions that I don't get to do a lot, because I'm a CS major, or like, I'm a STEM major. We don't write papers. We write technical documents. Located on the top floor, ironically, of the Lillian Behavioral Hospital is the adult mental health ward. The adolescent and children wards are just a floor below, but this story isn't for kids, so just forget about them for now. Don't worry, they're used to it. Our ill-fated main characters are Cosmo, Cypress, Daisy, and Spider. Although bound together by fate, hospital regulations have them divided by gender identity. The adults are separated as to limit interactions and possible fraternization. The North Hall houses the male patients, and the South Hall houses the female patients, respectively. These four connected through hidden letters taped under cafeteria tables, and manage brief interactions while shuffling by in the hallways. A plan to meet up on the outside was always a distant yet hopeful goal for these mentally afflicted individuals. They all had plans for their stays at they all had plans for after their stays at Lillian Behavioral Hospital, whether they involved living past the following week or not. Until then, each of them followed the monotonous daily schedule of group therapy, activity hour, and meal times. The mental health ward made it easy to find something that you could hate more than yourself. The outside world, located behind windows and TV screens, was not important, and the longer one was disconnected, the less it felt real. The irony of the world collapsing could not be lost on the hopeless and trapped patients. The apocalypse was certainly not on the daily schedule. I mean, who could predict the end of the world would happen so soon? That's like the establishing like, the tone is cynical because like that's if you meet any like fucking mentally ill bitch, me, uh, cynical. And then the second one is fleshing out the characters. Cosmo and Cypress are roommates who developed a bond through shared love of recreational and illicit drugs and a mutual hatred for modern society. Cosmo is a university student with a preference for the college experience. It's easy to ignore familial issues and academic stresses when you fight anxiety and ADHD with a green plant. Cypress is a workaholic businessman with a failing marriage. His desire for white powder outweighs his desire for his wife, and the voices in his head don't do much to help. The nurses love this dynamic duo as much as they love pulling out hair. In the female ward, we find Daisy and Spider, two girls living directly across from each other with a hallway in between. Luckily, the doors can't be closed, so conversation is easy. Daisy is an orphan and worked as a waitress prior to her manic breakdown during dinner rush. The closest thing she had to family was her coworkers, and unfortunately her workplace family kicked her out for interfering with the customer experience. Spider, also known as Arania, only the nurses and Daisy can call her that though, should be attending college, but she dropped out after her sophomore year. She thought that she would eventually be free from her parents' abuse after moving to college, but apparently if they pay her tuition bills, she's contractually obligated to be a perfect daughter. These four unexpectedly meet up when the undead rise and the outside world burns. Once again, given control of their own lives, these four mentally ill humans choose to fight the lucky ones, like the zombies because they're dead, as they want to die on their own terms. And that's the story! All the characters are inspired by, like, Cosmo, the college thing, as if you saw me referencing to myself, me. Cypress, is actually he's the first tech I talked to when I was in rehab. He didn't have schizophrenia, but he had a coke problem, and like he like was rehab wasn't like terrible, but like most of the people I didn't fucking like. Daisy is mimicking. So I have like 5 years of experience as a hostess, and so I've worked in the restaurant industry, and I hate the fucking if like together we're a family. Like this is a we're a like we help each other out because like the minute you mess up, they drop you. They could fire you, and that's what like, the orphan, closest thing to a family, has a breakdown, loses the only family she has, and then Spider is inspired by my best friend. They're all the hospital is named after lilies, funeral lilies. Cosmo flowers, cypress vines, daisies, and arania flowers are all flowers that are very resilient. So yeah, cosmos are known for their ability to grow in the absolute worst conditions. Butter daisy is a super easy to grow annual, which excels in heat and dry conditions. Full sun conditions are its bread and butter, so plant it somewhere sunny and forget about it. Cypress they will grow anywhere. And then with spider flowers, like when I was looking up like flowers that are difficult, this is what it says verbatim. They'll grow almost anywhere with almost any kind of treatment. On top of that, they're simply to grow from seed. If you're looking for a plant that can take some abuse, this is the one. The juxtaposition of Group A to Group B is that the techs and the nurses are people that are like, no, you should keep living. You should these are like, work on yourself. Like don't give up. Like don't stop doing it. And then when the zombie apocalypse hits, they're like, no, fuck it. Like it's over. I want to game over. I'm good. I'm out. And that's why they're the flowers they're named after, which is amaranth and sunflowers. Those are two flowers that you cannot repot or move, And so that's them like symbolizing them staying in the hospital. They don't want to leave. They're like, this is like, and then so like the flower, the name of the like, stubborn, doesn't want to leave their location, and the like a an inverse of like the suicidal patient suddenly being like, wait, no, not yet, hold on, and the name of it is How I Want It to End. Show you the little animatic I have for it. I have to think up a storyboard for this. So my idea is there's gonna be a guy sitting on his couch watching TV, and then his cat comes in with like a dead mouse. Like he gets upset or something. He's like, you always fucking bring this shit in the house. I don't want it. Like even though cats bringing you like dead mice and stuff is like a gift, but it's like you always bring and like just upset about it. I guess I'll do like a wavy effect or something, and you'll figure out that he's like high off of something, and that he's talking to like a little computer mouse on the ground, like just inanimate objects, and he like thinks he's watching TV, thinks there's a mouse, he thinks there's a cat. What if, okay, so remember how you said like the TV is like watching you or watching him sleep? What if it starts out with him thinking he's at home on a couch and his cat comes in. He doesn't even have to be angry. He could just be just saying like, just interacting with the cat, and then it's like a wavy, like hazy thing, and it shows that he's actually like homeless or just like on the street, and there's a security camera staring at him. That's what he thinks the TV is, and there's a little computer mouse on the ground. That's what he thinks the mouse. That's what he thinks the mouse is, and then the cat. I don't know what the cat could be. Or what if the cat is like the guy the owner's awake sitting on the couch, and he sees the cat like chase the mouse and catch him, and he's like good boy, like here you can have some like extra tuna or something, and then like the cat like eats it and then walks away, and then like cat walks off with the mouse and then like drops him. The mouse like brushes himself off, and he's like, where's my end of the where's my half? Is weed legal in New York? I can't remember. It's recreational here. After going too hard and ending up in fucking rehab for it, I haven't smoked in over a year, but I'm going to again after I graduate. Never at the same amount that I did, because that was problematic. I was smoking about an ounce a week to myself, and I was spending almost $1,000 a month on weed. So, I did not vape for the longest time. I did not like that my friends did it. I've never smoked a cigarette. Blunts made me dizzy, but oh my god, I love backwoods. I smoked only backwoods for 2 weeks straight, and now I have a nicotine addiction. Oh yeah, no, I can still roll a joint, and I can still roll a backwood and stuff. It was so funny when I got out of rehab. My sister asked me, she's like, "Can you still roll?" And I'm like, "No, they broke our fingers in rehab, so we couldn't roll anymore." And she's like, "What?" And she like cried laughing. I'm like, how would I forget? Can you see that? Look at that. Look. Okay. You can't see. Okay, yeah. You can't. I couldn't get the number, but that's exactly 4 grams. I was really good at rolling, but I would face backwards just by myself. And when I do go back to smoking, it will not be. I'll go back to my like when I started smoking. It was like, I'm not gonna smoke during the day. I'm not gonna smoke alone. I'm not gonna do this. But like as I got deeper and deeper into like literal addiction, I started making excuses. I'm like, well, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. The reason I had such a problem with weed is I've never greened out. No one's ever outsmoked me. No one's ever I've never thrown up. I've never had a panic attack. I've never so I was able to keep smoking. I've made people nauseous by at a point like when it was really bad, like if someone smoked with me, I'm like, do not try to keep up with me out of courtesy. Just don't. And this isn't me flexing, it's just the fact that I am so far gone. People had kept up with me in the past, and I had someone just straight up collapse, like from like a standing position, and I'm like, okay, yeah, we're not gonna do this anymore. Okay, I have a question. To anyone who has Netflix, have you seen brand new cherry flavor? Because if you have, I would like to talk about it. Okay, well, there's the most disturbing sex scene that I've ever seen, and like, I thought it was going like, oh, if you like on TikTok, it was like, oh, if like the most disgusting, and I'm like, okay, and like I've seen like veteran of the internet or whatever, that shit was gross. I think it's like the 4th episode go to like 40 minutes or something. If you're interested, but like because I like that show. Okay, yeah, do not. I like because when it started when it started going around TikTok, I was already watching the show, but I was like just slowly. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get to it, and like because it's like horror and kind of like witchy and stuff. You know, I was at work today, and I was closing, and I was like, oh, so I have to set up like rotisserie chickens, and like I was like, oh, I can watch something during this. Couldn't find anything I wanted to watch on YouTube. I'm like, oh, I might as well finish this episode. Didn't even realize on the 4th episode, so I was just watching that at work, and I was like, oh, okay. So I watched it without sound, and even then I was like, didn't like it at one bit. Like it wasn't like it was weird. It was very like I've seen like things that are like uncomfortable, but like super gory or something, or super like. Oh, have you ever seen The Boys? Oh, I mean, I guess I love that show. It's on Amazon Prime. But in The Boys, there's a superhero with gills, and he gets like a little bit sexually assaulted by like someone sticking their hand in his gills, and I was like, oh, like it's just uncomfortable. Yes, the scene I'm talking about was in the 2nd season. Like I love the show, but I watched the 1st episode with people for the first time, and like my best friend's roommate she's like, yeah, I don't like that show. Like someone gets like sexually assaulted within the 1st episode, and it's like, I get it, but also like the thing is with The Boys, at least, like it's like you kind of like know it's gonna be like super gory, but like, oh my god. Brand new cherry flavor. I don't know. Didn't like that. I'm not gonna I promise I'm not gonna do this in teams when I'm in a team anymore. Like it's just like because I feel shitty just like promoting myself, but because that's what I keep talking about, I'm gonna keep doing that.